The importance of nonprofits, in Indian country is probably our most go-to arenas that we have for support.
Native nonprofits. What wonderful organizations that fill the void between the various forms of government, whether it is national, state, or tribal, and the business sector.
It's really, again, come to mind the importance of these Native nonprofits, how they fill a really, really important hole that exists in tribal communities. Sometimes there are not the services available or the energies or the activities that should be going on to help restore well-being and empower tribal communities.
I think we look really thoughtfully at our community, and we're a source of support for tribal government. Tribal government, I think there's this idea that they should be the end-all for everything that happens within a reservation boundaries. And nonprofits, I think, have proven that they are an amazing support system to tribal government.
Essential organizations that carry the values of the people. Native nonprofits are the epitome of value systems that have long-standing traditions in the land that we were first to love.
Shumawish, Deepa, Shumawish, Shumawish.
Everyone in the community has their roles to play in building our nations, and particularly the work that nonprofits do in the community are really servicing and serving the underserved. Those that would go without help or supplement, that wouldn't be able to do the meaningful projects that they're doing.
Nonprofit work is riskier and harder, but it's also so much more beautiful because you have that freedom to create and build and move according to what the community needs you to do. And that's I think a great reason why anybody should want nonprofits operating in their communities, but I think too, they make the overall system work better. They just do, and you should invest in them.
They are very fluid in their ability to work with the community, which to me really is a pretty good example of how collectivist cultures work, tribal communities work at their best.
There's a movement now of grassroots nonprofits who are in great need of a significant amount of capacity building support. And so I think that, in building that leadership capacity, those nonprofits within tribal communities on Pine Ridge, on Cheyenne River, and other communities, they're now the leaders providing this direct support to other emerging nonprofits.
Native nonprofits are a vehicle for leaders to get engaged in their community in very profound ways. They're filling niches, whether that is a new language immersion school, a after-school program, better health care. They are creating opportunities that haven't existed before. And by doing so, they're fundamentally improving the lives of families and communities.
Assets in Native communities are significant. And we're not only talking economic assets, although economic assets are critically important. We're looking at more social, cultural, ecological assets. What philanthropy provides is that flexibility, that ability for Native communities to administer programs based on those needs in our community. And only in this fashion can we develop meaningful assets.
Native peoples and communities know what matters to our people, and we know how to define our own assets. And organizations like the 7th Generation Fund for Indigenous Peoples, the Hopi Foundation, Potlatch Fund, First Peoples Fund, Hopa Mountain, organizations like these, we know how to identify and mobilize the critical resources that our people need in order to actualize self-determinative futures. We know how to identify what the communities need, how to work with them. We've gained over decades and decades and decades trust and accountability with the communities that we work with. And we move agendas forward that the people have mobilized.
Hey,
I think there's too great an emphasis placed, especially in Native communities, too much emphasis put on economic development as the primary indicator of prosperity.
And I think if you ask many Native people here in the Northwest, people don't feel like there's a sense of poverty. I think if there's any sort of feeling of loss or of not having enough, it's around culture, and it's about bringing back that culture and being resilient in one's culture as the connecting force that binds all of us.
Everything plays a vital role in keeping our daily lives going, from when we first get up, till we go to bed. Every little thing we do, whether we know it or not, is ceremonial in some ways.
When I think, yes, economic prosperity is a good thing, and a good thing for Native communities, but I also think it detracts from other things that are very important to all of us as people, and that's the spirituality, the language, the connection of community.
Certainly people need to get by and they need to make a living, but that's not what it means to be prosperous in the same way that I think other societies or communities may think of wealth being about money.
It's a testament to culture. A lot of our people, whatever age, but young people in particular, not knowing more about their culture, not being exposed to the preciousness of their culture, creates a void. And in that void, in an attempt to fill that void, a lot of harmful things enter into the equation.
Language is key too. That's another huge cultural asset that we need to hang on to, is because without language, we can't have ceremony, we can't have song and dance, arts and crafts, and so forth, because everything has meaning.
We realize the asset in the community is that ability for that community to be collectivist or work together. Once those pieces fall into place, everything else falls into place. And it's the idea that the culture then is leading, in the sense, and has always been there to show people that the assets are in the culture.
I think in terms of First Peoples Fund approach is that not only do we provide the financial support to the individual artists, to help them really grow their projects within their community or grow their business support, but we also, really bring the resources from outside of the communities that support them, and we bring them to other communities so they can see the success that's going on within other tribal communities.
The Seventh Generation Fund models a value of what we are so much aware of as Native peoples. We call the give away. We give, not just in a financial sense, but in the spirit of training individuals to create change in their communities.
And really working with the culture bearers in the community and supporting them, the ones that are out there, offering the teachings to the next generation that are revitalizing cultures and customs that, may have been lost, without the work that they're doing. So it's important to acknowledge these artists and natives within the communities and support the work that they do.
For me, I look at it like my corn. I can plant all my heirloom seeds as much as I want, but I can't put a price tag on that because they're living. It's really for us, they're living things. So it's really hard to come and go in and try to measure the value of a rattle that's been used in ceremony, or a drum.
Having a Native nonprofit is different, especially when we serve Native people. It's a declaration that we are here, that we are brilliant people, that we have so much to offer this world, and that we can take care of ourselves and we can take care of our people.
By supporting the cultural aspects of what a community needs, you are creating healthy individuals and healthy communities, because as each person starts to determine or learn or acknowledge who they are and their rich history, they can then turn around and pass it on to their children, to their grandchildren, and for many generations to come.
They need the capacity, they need the multi-year investments from the foundations, and then those smaller nonprofits that are emerging that are projects of Seventh Generation Fund, you know, they're the ones that need a lot of capacity building support. So you need kind of the combination of the direct support to the communities, but the support to those intermediaries, you know, that are providing the capacity building as well. And that doesn't happen overnight. You know, the change doesn't happen overnight. So those foundations, it's critically important that they invest in multi-year support, but also, you know, the support that provides the capacity building.
It would be great if philanthropy could make a serious commitment, a long-term commitment to bringing about meaningful change in Native America. Currently, foundation support to Native America is less than 0.3%. I think for meaningful change, we need to up that sizably and sustain it for several years.
We're watching more children succeed in school. We're watching children go on to college. We're seeing families earn more money. That increases the health and well-being of everyone. These are the kinds of opportunities that Native leaders, through nonprofits, invest in, and an investment in them makes a difference for generations to come.
And so you're seeing a whole nation building going on through these nonprofit works, through First Peoples Fund and other nonprofits like that. But then you get to see the trickle effect. You know, who are they impacting in their home communities? You know, beyond just the work that we're doing with them. Now they're becoming leaders and mentors in their own communities and really having a larger impact.
It's a game changer for a community. It really, really is, to have nonprofits like ours operating. We're fighting the good fight, and we're a complement. If somebody would just kind of take a minute and look at us.
Change cannot happen in 1 or 2 years. It requires sustained commitment from a whole network of philanthropic support and individual donors.
And be very active in supporting Indian nations and question the foundations about their participation and support for Indian country. That's important.
The Seventh Generation Fund has its principles steeped in the Haudenosaunee philosophy of making decisions that are couched in their impact upon 7 generations into tomorrow. It is so important to model the kinds of values that are necessary for strengthening Native communities, which is the role that Native nonprofits play in America today.
Wani wachi yelo yo, wani wachi yelo yo,